We do have some updated information that I think that you guys need. Good morning. It's nice to see you. It's freezing cold. It is so cold here. Good gracious. We've got the event set up for like 10:30 because we're going to have breakfast. So we won't be out there setting up until about 10. I'm thinking about 10:15, and then we'll go live right about, I'll just throw you guys live while we're still doing stuff out there. And the first event, the first will be at the top of an hour. So every top of the hour, so at 9 o'clock, we're not going to be there. 10 o'clock, we might be there, but and if I am, I'll go ahead and go live. But from 10 to 10:05, we're going to be saying something to the officers. From 11 to 11:05, we're going to be saying something to, the sheriff, and so on until the day. Now, Thursday, we're going to be adjusting just a little bit. On Thursday, we're going to be out there all day, have a morning crew, and then at noon, have cake and drink some water and stuff like that. I still got to go get a cooler, which I'll get tonight. I didn't want to bring my big fishing cooler. It was just too big. I didn't have room for it. So I figured I'd get a little cooler while I'm here, and I'll just take it back with me because I need something a little smaller, so it's not a big deal. But we're hearing that we're going to have rain Thursday morning. So I don't know how long the rain is going to last. So I'm thinking we're going to be out there around 11, and when it subsides, we'll start setting everything up. So I'm thinking we'll probably have cake and cake, not ice cream. Good gracious, no ice cream, cake and water around, I don't know, 2 instead of noon. And then that gives everybody an opportunity to get out there, sign, wave, whatever they're going to do. And then we'll take a break, eat some cake, pray, fellowship, talk about the case, and do that stuff. And we'll do that until about 4:30 and start wrapping up. And then like around 6, we're going to find dinner somewhere. So I'd like to know where everybody wants to go eat for dinner on the 27th, 26th, Thursday. So that's where we'll be. But anyways, getting back to this topic of conversation here. Good morning, everyone. I'm Bullhorn Betty. I know it's ridiculously early. It's 5:30 where I'm at, so it's 6:30 East Coast, and we're going live. I waited until now. I've been up for probably about 2 hours already, but I'm waiting until now because everybody's starting to get up in the house. I didn't want to wake anybody up. My voice carries. This is a wood frame, so the voice just carries. Um, but I like it. We're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so it's nice and very secluded. So I'm very, very. I mean, it's not ultra secluded. There's houses around us, but it's in the middle of nowhere. I love it. And we have internet here. So that's a double love, right? And it's like Delilah, she creeps out there. She can smell all the animals. Like we're like in the woods, in the sticks. And I took her out there, and she's just kind of, you can just tell she's a little freaked out over it. She's a little freaked out. Hey, River. It's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well, honey bunny. All right. So let's get to it. So what's going on in the Nancy Guthrie case? Okay, you guys remember I told you I want to stand on it. I had to make a decision. I felt like it was necessary to make the decision, and I said that the masked man, that second shot was of the same night, and that masked man obviously took his backpack off to most likely get some tools or stuff out of the backpack. We are learning by a source that it's possible this photos of a different night. Now, since this all broke last night, which I was out of pocket. I didn't hear until after the fact, until after everybody had run through it. And we had already done a live before I went to dinner. So I wasn't going to do another live. I was exhausted. I did a 13-hour drive here, shower, sit down and rest for a little bit with Delilah, and then off to dinner. It was a lot to do. And then to come back here, it was just, I was exhausted. So by the time we got here and unwound just a very little bit, I fell asleep. I was out. Well, this morning I wake up and I realized that the statement related to that photo do I have the photo on here? I don't know if I have the photo on here, guys. I really don't. I don't think I do. I think it's on the, oh, you know what I do? I do have a photo. There we go. Let me get my cranium out of the way. So here we go. There's the photo. So this one they're saying is of the night. This one they're saying is from a different night, probably that February 11th time frame, excuse me, January 11th time frame that they were looking for some information, right? These do not have timestamps on them. Okay. So I believe that these were the two of the same people, which I think everybody's in agreement that these two people are the same people. However, everybody's not in agreement on when those photos were realized. Now, these were all captured at the same time that Google was able to help them retrieve some of these residual images, just because people don't understand. It's not identified behind the scenes because there are no subscriptions. But you got to remember, this stuff still carries over the internet. Okay, so you're never going to be able, in my opinion, to ever fully scrub these things that are going through the internet. If there was another mechanism, maybe. If it was going through the phone lines, maybe. But it's not. It's going through the internet. Even the non-subscriptions. Think about it. You pick up your phone, you're on an app, you're looking at it, whether it's recording it or not. It's going through the internet, and so the internet, especially the criteria. This is what people don't understand that Google has with the government, because they they have a lot of power. They control the internet. The whole world is powered by the internet. So there have to be regulations on this, because that's a lot of power for one company to have worldly. Um, so part of that is we have metrics in place to prevent, say, the apocalypse happens or somebody hits our major data center, right? And the thing just explodes, or something, supernatural happens. Maybe we have a flood and something happens and Google goes down. Okay. The worst thing, we've never really had Google down, but what if, right? They're required to have certain safeguards in place to make sure if anything happens to there, because we all run the whole entire country. Our country runs on the internet. And so these like Google, they have requirements of maintaining certain things. So this is where this residual income, or this residual data, is coming from. It was transferred. It's not identified or cataloged like the rest of the stuff is. It's because it's not cataloged. So it still went through the internet. So it still has a captured rate that's overridden, but it has a capture rate. And this is the capture rate. But we were told a lot of different things here. And I think that this is where they need to tamper this down. I don't know who's leaking this information out. I have to believe it's the FBI. I don't like that. I don't like information being leaked because it goes to the integrity. This right here goes to the integrity of the investigation, but it goes to a lot more, because there's a lot more. There's a lot of stuff that we American people don't understand. And yeah, we're entitled to understand it, but the reason why we don't understand it is because they're tools and stuff that our government utilizes. I don't like this information being out, personally. I don't like the signal sniffer being out. Okay. And there's a reason why. I mean, I will run the story because it's already out there. I'm going to run the story. I don't like running the story. I think that this is detrimental to policing. And why? Because there's a lot of things that common criminals don't understand, that are now being educated. And I don't like it. I don't like it. Those tools of the trade are the tools of the trade to help our law enforcement find the bad guy. And so it's out there. We're running the story. We're discussing it, but I don't like it. I will be honest with you. I think it's detrimental. I think this whole case was very detrimental to the utilization of certain items that we have to help investigate cases. And those should never have been broadcasted. I should not know about them, and you should not know about them. But once they're out there, it's out there. So us talking about it at this point doesn't make a hill of beans. But either way, I don't like it. But now we're learning that it's possible. Now, since this whole possibility came out of these things going on different nights, it hasn't been established that it is. As a matter of fact, Pima County immediately, the story broke at like 8 hours ago, and then Pima County 7 hours ago put a statement after the story ran, so many people didn't see the statement. And the statement from Pima County, and I wish I would have taken a picture of it, but I didn't. But the statement of Pima County, I'm just going to it's not verbatim, but it's what they're basically stating, and they're saying that they have no idea what the dates. These don't come with date and time stamps on them, and because of that, everything that they're stating is speculative in nature. That means it's possible that this came on a second night, but it's also possible that this happened on that night. So I don't know if that's kind of damage control from Pima County, but I'm going to say, and I'm going to end up writing Cash Patel today because I believe the leaks are coming from the FBI, and that's unprofessional. I'm not ever going to get on board with leaks. Okay, I don't. Again, I'm a journalist. I run these stories. I'll continue to run these stories, but I also have integrity, and I don't like running these stories. And these stories should not be out in the public, and we shouldn't be having this broadcasted pissing contest between the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff. And it's the FBI leaking these problems with Pima County Sheriff, not Pima County. There might be a couple of agents like that one guy that's head of their police union and stuff like that. He's got a lot of pull. He's can be more vocal, and there's not a whole lot they can do. But I'm just letting you guys know that I feel like these leaks are coming from the FBI. I'm never going to get down with leaks, okay? No matter what part of what I'm on or whatever, I'm never going to get down with leaks. Leaks are bad. Leaks are bad. I don't care if you have pissing contests. I don't care what you do behind the scenes. It's not for public consumption. It just isn't. But if it gets too incredibly bad, because we got this whole thing kicked off about this Florida lab, and the talking heads that wanted to disrupt this stuff are saying it was a bad decision, it delayed time, and which it did. I do believe it delayed time. But there's also other pundits that are saying this really was a relatively smart decision. So I'm listening to everybody on there, and so it's just gotten to the point where I am truly just convinced that the FBI is maybe causing this disruption because of their disdain for the sheriff. Remember that FBI investigation goes both ways. And so it might be that Pima County, I'm just not really to get on board because I've seen some things that I'm not liking, and I feel like it's from the FBI. And if it's from the FBI, then they have a motivation to do it. And because otherwise they keep everything. And it's just funny that the FBI is just leaking about their disdain for the sheriff, but not leaking a whole lot of information, except when it comes to crap like this. The higher up in the, we have, people in News Nation that have great relationships with FBI agents, FBI directors, people that can look at things and give them a statement off the record. Okay, it happens with every ABC's got them, NBC's got them, News Nation's got them. Whenever Fox News has got them, whenever you're in that arena, you interview a lot of people. When you interview a lot of people, you have a tendency of rubbing elbows, getting on a friendly terms with these people, knowing them by name. And these people are normal people. I know people look at everybody a little differently, especially when they're higher up on the food chain, but they're still people. They still put their pants on one leg at a time, and they still bleed crimson red. So always remember that. They just work their 24/7 a little different than you work your 24/7. That's it. That's what gives them the difference between them and you. They work their 24/7 a little differently than you do. So I don't know what to say about this. I don't know whether to advise that these are truly from 2 nights. People have noticed how much darker it was behind the guy and how much different the image appeared to be. And it could have been from that night. Now that it's starting to leak, that it's possible these were from 2 different nights. It's possible it's from 2 different nights. So partially of my statement of I felt like I needed to position myself, and my position was I thought that this was the same guy on the same night, and that was my position. And I vocalized that position. I'm going to stand on that position until information comes out, but it does look like I might be wrong. That this one over here might be from a different night. And I think if we had to use our deductive reasoning, remember they were asking for film on January 11th. So why were they asking for film all the way back to January 11th? This might be from January 11th. But what this does tell me is this tells me that most likely this guy purchased this backpack and purchased that gun holster and the firearm after November 11th or after this image, because it looked like he already had the jacket, looked like he already had the ski mask, looked like he already had the gloves, looked like he already had the pants. But it looks like the few things that he is missing in this photo are the gun, the holster, and the backpack. And the good news is we know where the holster came from. We know where the backpack came from. We don't know where the firearm came from. And we don't know where the other items he was wearing, the jacket, the pants, the shoes, and all that came from. But it looks like they're in the process of identifying those items. Somebody preemptively found this jacket, and I think they were spot on with the jacket. I can't remember. I saw it I've taken a picture of it, but I can't remember what the name of the jacket was, but I believe the jacket was identified by a web sleuth. So I think we have a good understanding of that. Good morning, Ashley. It's nice to see you. Oh, my little mods, my moderators. Oh, you guys are in the house with me and still moderating. I just wanted to make sure I was as quiet as possible. Still photos look like they're our plastic shoes cover like people in the hospital. Ooh, interesting. It's possible. It's possible. This guy came prepared. And I think if we realize this is from the 11th, then this was, maybe that's how he knew he wasn't going to, be caught. Maybe because he was there monkeying around and nobody ever called law enforcement on him. There was nobody even knew he was there. I'm all showered. I don't know how the hell you showered. I showered last night, but it's too damn cold for me. I've been out downstairs monkeying with that heater. That heater, but not cold up here. I woke up this morning and Delilah's slobbering all over me. Oh, look at my little baby. Look at my little baby. She said, I love me, mommy. I love me, mommy. Boy, she was thirsty this morning. She didn't want to drink very much yesterday, with the trip and everything. She wouldn't drink at all on the trip. It was getting me frustrated because I was worried about her getting dehydrated. And so this morning she drank a whole bowl of water and still kept drinking. I brought the bowl up here and she's like, and I looked over there and her bowl was empty. And I'm like, well, I'll pee. So I went back over there, filled it up again. She started drinking again. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you're a thirsty girl. You're a thirsty girl. But she was great traveling. I just wish she wouldn't be so anxious. She was a little anxious. But I think like at the end of the trip, after the end of the 13 hours, she started to relax. So I think she might actually catch on to this whole traveling thing. We'll find out on the way home. If she was good as on the way up, then we'll be good. I'm going to start traveling with her and get her out of the house. And she needs to be socialized. Like, she's already nipped. She didn't nip at Sonia. She doesn't nip. She doesn't nip at all. But she growls and barks. And she doesn't growl. I never hear her growl and bark. But when we were up here with Sonia's dogs, and Sonia's dog, so when Sonia came in here, Delilah like, But when we were downstairs, Sonia, I picked her up and she went up there, and Sonia was able to pet her little face. She gave her the cutest little shirt. She said, oh, it's over there. It says, I'm a baller. I'm a baller. BALL. Yes, you are. And I brought her a little BALL because she loves to play. She loves to play. Good morning, everybody. If you're just coming in, we're talking about the Nancy Guthrie case this morning. We're not going to stay too long. I've got that event coming up, but I had some time to kill and some probative information to go over with you guys. Glad we didn't get that, But at the end of the day, we're hearing that there's a source that came out that said these images here, the one of the guy without the backpack, we all agreed that they were the same guy. Okay. It was just, everybody was noticing how much darker it was this evening than it was this evening. And, people were pointing out that it just felt different, right? And so I'm just like, well, let me just go ahead and get this out. And I just said, I think it's from the same night. I think it's the same person. And it looks like I might be partially wrong. So it may very well be from a different night, but there's a caveat even on top of that caveat. Pima County Sheriff came out and told us that there's no dates on these. There's no timestamps on these. So we literally have no earthly idea whether this is from an earlier time frame or a later time frame. And I don't think that's necessarily true. And this is why I don't like this information being leaked or out there, because it's very clear they have more images than the ones that they gave us. Prior to this statement, we thought that they only had the images that they were given from that night. This expands that, and this makes us not really believe the statements that they said of these being the only images that they were able to recover. I don't necessarily believe that. And I went back to some of the statements that Pima County Sheriff has made when people talk to them about, possibly getting other images. And he's like, he gives the dance, but he doesn't. He doesn't confirm. So he gives the dance, like he's like, oh, Google said they'll try to get us some images back. But he never said that the images that they released to the public were the only images in their possession. So I think we need to take that into consideration too, that there is obviously multiple dates and more than just the photos that they released to the public. Now, what are those? I don't know. Is this ultimately going to be of a different date? Well, now that it's being speculated, I'm starting to position myself that it most likely will be. And I'm fine with that. I was one way or the other, but we had no evidence that there was a secondary scoping or him being on the property a secondary time. So this is relatively new information, but it opens a whole different Pandora's box and can of worms because, again, now we're talking about multiple days that they were able to receive off that camera, and we're supposed to believe that we only got 2 videos and these random images. Yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it, which is a good thing, right? Which is a good thing. If I'm accurate, which, sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, then they would have more information, which is a good thing. It's always a good thing to have more information. It's always a good thing to have, and this might be the reason why they went back to that front. You remember when they put the tent up to cover what they were doing in the front? They probably had a lot more images and saw him touch different types of surfaces out there than what we saw him do. We don't know what they were watching. We only know, and even that little video that they gave, the snippet that they gave us, was not really a full snippet. So it's like, one was a smaller snippet than the other one. It's like, yeah, don't they record typically around the same? Like, don't they record, like if they're going to be a snippet, isn't it going to be like a 20-second snippet? And is both of them going to be 20-second snippets? Why would this one be like 4 or 5 seconds or whatever, and this one be 14 seconds? It doesn't make sense to me. So again, with my recorder, I think records 30 seconds at a time. So you have maybe it's a minute, but you have, recording, then you have the recording, and then you got a recording, and you can look at all the different recordings and the timestamps on those. But she doesn't have a subscription, it's just a little different because I don't know what a no subscription is, because I've never had a subscription, but I've had my stuff download, and it downloads separately without a subscription. So I don't, I have Blink. I don't pay for a subscription. But I can go anytime, and I've got a month's worth of videos logged. So I've bought the camera. I paid for the sync box. I got the sync box in a place that nobody even knows exists. So no matter what, unless somebody knows my house, they're never going to find the sync box. Okay. And I can guarantee you there's hardly anybody that knows my house. My house is choppy. So you're not going to find my sync box. So I feel like I'm relatively, and the sync box is synced to my internet. So the only time I'm not getting the image on my app is if my internet is down, but it's still recording on that sync because it's being, well, if the internet's down, I don't think it'll record at all. That's the only thing. with mine. If the internet's down, it won't record at all. So then that brings me back to another point. Why didn't they just cut the internet instead of damaging the lights? You know, everybody's got a box on the outside of their home. I mean, it's very easy. I mean, they're not secure boxes by any stretch of the imagination. Any Joe Blow can go in there and you know, cut the wires, to be honest with you, you know? So, you think on February 1st video, it appeared that the perp has a tarp in the backpack. You can see the square outline of it. Everybody's been talking about that, and you guys know me. I believe this woman was murdered. I believe she was murdered inside of her house. And I believe she was discarded outside of the house. I don't believe this was an abduction. I don't think we have any proof that there was any ransom from these people. And it makes you wonder who would want to target this little lady. And it's somebody that either wanted to get back at Savannah or this woman had something of theirs. Or, you know, money. She does have a nest egg. She does have a retirement. She does have, you know, she is living off money. She is living comfortably off money. I really don't know what we're looking at here, but I believe that this was ordered. Why? I don't know. But I don't believe this was random. I mean, clearly if this is accurate and this was from a different night, this shows a lot more planning than and it makes you wonder how in the world was he shocked that there was a camera at the front door, because it seems like he's looking right at it, unless he didn't realize it was a camera on this night when he was doing his canvassing. I don't know. It just seems like he shouldn't have been shocked that there was a camera there. That's all I'm saying. I wonder how long she needs to be missing to be declared deceased. Well, they can, because of this situation, because of the evidence in this case, I think they might be able to move fairly quickly, a lot quicker than, say, like we're coming around like 7 years. I think we're going to have to start getting an attorney and start pushing for Summer Wells, because we're almost to the 7-year mark. She hasn't been seen or heard from since the day she left. And I get so sick and tired of dealing with Tennessee, because this is what they do. They just wait until the clock runs out because they're too damn lazy to do their job, or just too dumb to do it. I don't like Tennessee law enforcement, I can tell you that. I'm not a fan. Not that I'm not a fan of the good hard workers that go out there and do it. I'm just not a fan of your training. I'm not a fan of your laws. I'm not a fan of how the state attorneys deal with it. I'm sick and tired of them thinking that their population is too stupid to understand a circumstantial case. I'm just tired of it all. I can't stand Tennessee. I really can't. I think Tennessee is a joke of a state. And so because of that, because of these lies that they perpetrate to their citizens, I'm angry with Bill Lee. I'm angry with Marsha Blackburn. I'm angry with a lot of people. I'm angry with the fact that they know this corruption exists in their small towns and they do shit about it. Nothing. So I don't want to hear tough on crime, tough on law, tough on this, tough on that. This is a joke of a state. And I'm going to stand here right from Florida. I'm in Tennessee, but I'm a Floridian. I'm going to stand right here and say that this state is a joke, and people can be pissed off at me all day long, but it's a joke. Their laws are a joke. Their justice system is a joke. Their law enforcement is a joke. Their investigative ability on missing children is a joke. Their protection of children is a joke. Everything related to Tennessee is a freaking joke. So, you know, I'm over it. I don't know what else to say. There's nothing. I don't see, you know, people live their life because they live their life. It doesn't mean that if things were different, how would you be dealing with it? You'd have to deal with your law enforcement. If something affected you, if your child was murdered or kidnapped or anything, you'd have to deal with your law enforcement. And your law enforcement is ill-equipped. And that's just the reality of the situation. And it's not just one area. It's not just the poorest area like Hawkins County. I mean, we're in the hoity-toity Hendersonville, right? We're in the hoity-toity Hendersonville. And they can't even get it. They have no earthly idea what the hell they're doing. And it's sad. It's sad. We have incompetent people running these investigations, and us as American citizens are required to just deal with it. And I'm sick and tired of dealing with it. We need Sebastian's law. We need an ability to fire these incompetent sheriffs, these unprofessional sheriffs, and be able to move our cases out of their hands. We are the bosses. We should be able to have ultimate say on who and how our children's and family cases are conducted. And at the end of the day, if law enforcement doesn't want this being a federal problem, then they need to start dealing with it on a state and local level, because these officers are ill-equipped, untrained, incompetent, and unprofessional in many cases. I mean, look at Tennessee alone. How many people were arrested for DUIs that were never even drunk? That's pure incompetence. That's pure incompetence. And quite frankly, there should be a class action suit against the state of Tennessee for millions of dollars. And you should be lucky that it's going to the state instead of just the local, because I'm telling you, I'm one of those people that would like to bankrupt counties. If I can bankrupt a county, I'm going to bankrupt a county. Only if it's corrupted, right? When you do underhanded stuff and you're getting this, you deserve to be sued, and you deserve to have your county be managed by the state until you get your stuff together. How embarrassing is that? That's a good way of getting the entire government body fired. And you guys know how I am. Some of these governments don't even need to be running. They are so corrupted, and nobody does a damn thing about it. And we all have to deal with it. I'm tired of dealing with it. I'm tired of having no control over putting these corrupt politicians behind bars where they belong. These people are robbing us blind. They're throwing people in jail for money that don't deserve to be in jail. I'm tired of it. And something's got to be done. And this is happening all over the state of Tennessee. This is not in Sebastian's case. These are other things that are going on. And then you couple that with Pima County. You look at Pima County, and you've got freaking people that are creeping all hours of the night, and nobody even knows that they're out there creeping. Why? Because their freaking law enforcement is incompetent and unprofessional and clearly aren't doing their job. And then they find this other creeper out there, and what do? Oh, well, did you have anything to do? Oh, well, he didn't have nothing to do with, Nancy Guthrie, so we let him go. But he was still a creeper in the middle of the night robbing from people. So you didn't arrest him for those? Interesting. So just throw the creeps back out on the road. Keep creeping. We've got problems in this country. We've got problems with our sheriffs. And I feel bad because I do think that Chris Nanos is a nice guy. But again, we don't need nice guys. We need guys that get the job done. And it's been a month, and this lady's dead. I really believe this lady is dead. And if she was alive, then her death is squarely on Chris Nanos. Squarely on Chris Nanos. I traveled back to my state, South Carolina, this morning. Right? If you live in North Carolina, move out, trying to get my daughter. Yeah, that's another place. I didn't realize North Carolina was getting that bad, but we see. And these are the two states that like to close their law enforcement offices. North Carolina and Tennessee. They don't like to have law enforcement open nights and weekends. You got to literally knock on the door. They do not have safe spaces for law enforcement. Like all of our sheriff's departments in Florida are safe spaces. That means if somebody's chasing you down with a freaking knife or a firearm, you can run into a sheriff's office, open a door, and run right in. At the sheriff's office around Tennessee, somebody's gunning you down and you're running toward a sheriff's office, you better hope that somebody can open that door for you to get you in before you're shot to death. Because you've got to sit there and knock on the door before it's open. And they may not even open it for you. That is disgusting. That is not any type of policing that I would put that's just disgusting. It's just disgusting. And we learned that through Riley Strain's case, because his brothers, fraternity brothers, there we go. They went to the sheriff's office and the doors were locked, and they had to beat on the doors and nobody would be there. And so they ended up having to push a button, and have an officer come and meet them on the outside of the building. He had to pull up in his car. They have a missing man, and they sat there for 15 minutes waiting for an officer to show up at a police station in Tennessee. Yeah. Yeah, you guys got problems here. And North Carolina, I found out when we were having those conversations that North Carolina is just like that. It's just like that. And they're throwing criminals back out on the streets with you. They literally had to go to Congress to force their judges to keep the criminals behind bars. That's sick. I don't know where you're from, but whoever's running these two states need to be fired. They don't need to be hired. They don't need to go on with their every chance you guys get to get these assholes out of office. You guys need to be doing it. Because you know what? If you're living in this state and it's not bothering you, it's bothering somebody. Somebody's losing their life because of your vote. I want you guys to understand that somebody is losing their life because of your vote. Look at Minnesota. 2 people lost their lives, right? From interfering with law enforcement because of the voters in Minnesota. The voters like Gypsy that sit here and come on my channel and want to condemn me for telling them how stupid their votes are. Meanwhile, they're stealing and robbing federal funds from all of us. And we're supposed to deal with it. So she's been blocked from this channel. So hopefully she can spend all her thousands of dollars over there on Queen Bee. That little crap baby deserves it a lot better than me, right? So there is that. Smoke it up there, Queen Bee. Smoke it up. City police here in St. Albans, Vermont, do the same thing. Doors are locked. See, Tina, why do you guys keep voting for that? That's my question. Why the hell do you guys keep voting for that? I would never vote for that. I would be in my cities and counties and saying, what the hell? It's your tax money, isn't it? It's all of our tax money. I mean, shoot, most of the people are paying so much tax, they can't even buy their freaking kids Christmas gifts. They have to skimp on Christmas gifts so the Somalis in Minnesota can rob us blind. They can't go on their vacation because we got to support the Somalis robbing us blind in Minnesota, right? And the other people robbing us blind around this country. But yet we have a whole lot of people sitting in prison that aren't them. Some of them just took candy bars and food to eat, and they're sitting in prison. While these Somalis took millions, $150 million. And trust me, those were federal funds, not just Minnesota funds. B&B isn't talking about Gypsy Vano. That comes here. Oh, no. Everybody knows who Gypsy is. Gypsy Vanna has been one of ours for a long time. Her name was stolen, just to let you know. Her name was stolen. It's insane. I don't really care. I found out about it last night. I didn't even note it, but I can tell you that the chick's blocked. She'll never be over here again. I could care less. I love that too. You know, she comes up to me and says, you know, I'm this way, and is it okay for you? It's like, yeah, I'm perfectly fine. She can say whatever she wants. She said some things that I didn't really agree with, but I never went over there and said something. I say one thing she can agree with, but just like a liberal, a hothead, she goes and runs her mouth. It had nothing to do with her. I was making a statement, but she made it about her, just like every freaking white liberal I know. And now she can't handle being friends with me. Not that I couldn't handle being friends with her. I was fine with it. I told her I could handle it. All the nasty crap she said on her channel, I never, went over there and put my 2 cents in or anything like that because, she has her opinion, but she couldn't handle mine. So, yeah, we can coexist. They cannot. Just to put it out there. So if you guys would like to be friends with me, be friends with me. But I'm going to say what I'm going to say on here. And if you don't agree, then just don't agree. But, I'm not changing my stripes. I'm not asking you to change your stripes. If you can't compartmentalize certain things, then maybe this isn't the channel for you, At least I'm fair and at least I'm honest. So I don't want you guys supporting things that you can't support, but we also love all, right? We just have our opinions on how to get there. Clearly, Minnesota doesn't know what the hell they're doing because Florida ain't getting robbed blind. Just saying. Just saying. We're not dumb. And if that's pissing a whole entire state off, well, Hopefully they vote better. Maybe they'll remember me in their sleep. They're like, oh, we don't want Betty calling us stupid again. Let's vote smartly. I need to get off this. I know I offend people when I say that, and I'm sorry, but I just can't stand stupidity. And I think even people in Minnesota that voted for this shit is like, yeah, we were pretty stupid, pretty blind too. You're like, I mean, there you cannot tell me that people are just okay in the state of Minnesota and saying, okay, we're just going to work our asses off to you know, support the entire Somali country. You can't tell me that people are okay with that. I don't care what color side of the aisle you're on. We're still humans and we still care about our money. We want our money going where it's supposed to go. Even freaking people that want the money to go to these daycares and stuff like that, they're still wanting kids to be taken care of, not stolen money. And they're stealing the money, you know? Agree to disagree. Deanna said it's all good. Deanna, well, I appreciate it. Let me ask you, if you're from Minnesota, are you okay with the Somalis robbing you blind? I mean, I guess maybe that needs to be the question because I'm telling you, I'm not okay with it. And if you guys want them taking your money, then make sure it's all Minnesota money, not federal money. That's where I'm coming from, you know, because kids need to eat. And it's sad that they took that money from babies and mommies. And I'm never going to be okay with that. But we appreciate you. We appreciate you being here. That's why they came after me so hard because I won't fear. Well, we'll see what happens this week. Sumner County's had a hard on for Bullhorn Betty. That's for sure. And I keep coming back, getting some more. Hey, hey. But thank you, Dina. I appreciate it. But that's what I'm talking about. Like Dina's like, well, we can agree to disagree. I prefer something like that. To come over here and freaking, yeah, no, that ain't gonna work. Especially because I just talk like this. Anyways, guys, we have a long day ahead of us. It's freezing cold. When I woke up this morning, guess what the temperature was? 19 degrees. It's Idaho 2.0. Okay, we're in Idaho weather 2.0. Except we're not going to have the media that we had out in Idaho, but that's okay. It's going to be me out there most of the day. If you guys want to swing by and say hi, just come by and say hi. Don't forget coffee. And also, Thursday, remember, I love you guys, all of you. I'm glad you guys are all here for Sebastian's Army, even with all our differences and political stuff. I still appreciate all of you for being here and supporting Sebastian. Thursday, the event day, we're hearing we're going to have some rain. So we may have to. I don't want you guys standing in the rain. If you guys want to come in, I'll stand. Listen, I search in the rain. I'm used to this stuff, but it's an event for y'all. So what I'm thinking that we'll do is we're going to bring the cake in at 2 instead of noon. I think the cake in at 2 instead of noon will be a little bit better. And so if we can get out there like around 10 and it's not raining and we can wave, that'll be great. If not, but I don't think it's going to be a 9 a.m. I think we're going to have some drizzly morning. So as soon as the drizzle is dried up, I'll be out there regardless. I'll be sitting in my car. I've got an umbrella. I'm perfectly fine. I'll still be there. Would you be streaming? Yeah, I even brought my umbrella for my equipment. So we'll be streaming out there regardless of the weather. I've got it set up where my equipment's covered with I have like a tripod and this hooks to the tripod. Oh, does it hook to this? Oh, this might be a little bit bigger. Yeah, when it's standing up, I'll have a place to hook my thing to the tripod. I have a regular tripod, but what did I do with the heavier tripod? I might need the heavier tripod instead of these little dinky things. I brought the heavier tripod with me. Either way, I got stuff. We've got stuff to deal with this, but I've got a lot of equipment in this room that needs to be out in the car. Yeah, because I need that. I think I'm going to do the tripod, the regular tripod. It just works out better. I mean, these little handheld ones are good, but once you put the umbrella on, you need something with a little weight to hold it down, Hey, Grave Crime with Grace. It's nice to see you. But anyways, guys, I just want to tell you I love you. Have a great day. Come out and support. And again, it just really upset me because I just finally saw that post from Gypsy, and I'm like, yeah, we're blocking her. If she can't handle it, she was the one that came up to me and said, I realize you're this way and I'm this way, and is that okay with you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm chill. I'm chill with whatever. I said, me and my friend Rodney, the way we handle it, because he's with the NAACP, and he was the prior president, and he doesn't really, he thinks everybody's out to get whatever, and so, but we're both activists, so we have to work together on certain things. And so the way we worked it out is like, we'll be friends, but just don't, if something bothers you, don't start yelling at my people, and I'll just not yell at your people. And so I told her about that, and she's like, yeah, that's cool. But clearly that's not how it works, because as soon as I say something, she's ripping me an asshole on my own channel after making that agreement with me. So there is that. So I just want to remind everybody of that as well. So that really kind of got under my skin. But I noticed she hadn't been here, but the comments what she said were just absolutely inappropriate. Absolutely inappropriate. And if that's the way she felt, I don't know why she ever approached me to begin with, because I'm pretty blunt with all you guys. I'm very transparent. If it's something, and I make sure you guys know it, so you're not supporting somebody you don't want to support, or a cause that you don't want to, support. If it comes down to political and you just can't support anybody that believes in Trump, well, this is not your channel. I am a Trump girl. If you can handle it, I can handle it. If you can't handle it, well, have a great day. But I'm not going to change myself to appease somebody else on the other end of this camera that I don't even know. You don't know me. This is my life. Okay, your life is your life. I don't go and intrude in your life. If something I say is offensive to you, then change the channel. There's things I see all the time that are offensive to me. You don't see me freaking losing a gasket, you know? Occasionally, but occasionally. I guess that's, but I'm pretty loud anyways, just my nature. I don't know. Anyways, I think we're off the topic of Nancy Guthrie, but at the end of the day, I don't know what to say about this photo behind me. How's Nancy Guthrie? I don't really know. I really, if they believe a tarp was taken in, then it's a hit. This is not an abduction. This was a pure, we're going to go in and execute a lady. Now we need to find out why. And we cannot forget the fact that they had the homicide detectives that day. Something in that house was so significant that they brought the homicide detectives in. So I'm not broke. I just don't try to fix me. That's it. That's it. So I don't know. I really don't know what to say about this case or about these images. But if we find out these images are from two different nights, I can almost guarantee law enforcement has a lot more than we know. They do not want this getting out that these are from two different nights. That's why it's so detrimental to this case when we start hearing these leaks come out. These leaks are not good. And if the FBI is doing it, stop. If it's the Pima County Sheriff, stop. If it's a deputy, stop. If it's an investigator, stop. Okay? Because these are things that go to the integrity of the investigation. I will cover them on my show when they're leaked, but I don't want to. They need to stop. They need to stop. All of it needs to stop. This is an investigation. This is an 84-year-old grandmother. And these leaks have got to stop. So, and I'm going to tell you, we're going to find out who these sources are. We're web sleuths. We're not mainstream media. And we're going to find out who they are. And when we do, we're going to be pushing to get them fired. And I don't care if they're top. If it's Kash Patel leaking, which I don't believe it would be, but if it was Kash Patel leaking, he needs to lose his job. He needs to lose his job. Anybody that's leaking information to the media needs to lose their job. Something has got to be set here. A precedent has to be set. You do not leak to media. I'm media. I'd love to have leaks. Okay? But not when it comes to the life of an 84-year-old grandmother or a child. Okay? We don't mind leaks when it's O.J. Simpson. TMZ has done the same damage in this case. I agree. They It was just these ransom notes were just getting ridiculous. And I think they had so many people paying attention to things they should not have been paying attention to when they should have been looking at this case. This is just piss poor. Every bit of this was piss poor. So, oh well. We'll get it. We'll get it back. We'll get it back. I feel like we'll get it back. So, anyways, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. We will see you soon. Don't forget, we're going to be out there in the cold. So, coffee, coffee, coffee. It's going to be a cold day today. It's supposed to be warming up, I think, to like 45, 50 today, which is nice. But we're going to make sure that we're getting out there a little later, just a tad bit. I'll be there at 9 o'clock, probably every morning, but this morning. We'll play it by ear. Thursday again, it looks like we're going to have some rain in the morning, and then the afternoon is clear. So I'm thinking maybe 10:30. We'll have to play it by ear. I'll know a little more, in the 24 hours before, because that's when the Doppler's the closest. So we'll have a good understanding of what the day is going to be like for the 26th. But don't forget, for those that are coming out, we are planning on doing a dinner afterwards. We just don't know where we're doing the dinner at. And we're going to have to call that once we figure out, we're going to have to call that in very, very early to make sure we have, enough spots for all of us to be there. So some of us aren't eating while others are waiting. So we're going to have to figure out something like that. But we can do that this afternoon. If anybody has any suggestions, please let my mods know of places in and around the Hendersonville or Nashville. I mean, if we've got to drive, 45 minutes out to have a place for all of us to eat, then we will. But I prefer trying to keep it somewhat local, within like 30 minutes of our event, if possible. So if anybody has any suggestions on places that can handle, 30 people to eat dinner, let me know. Reach out to my mods and give them suggestions so we can start making calls and getting that all set up for Thursday evening. And so are the people, in my opinion, a mother and step parent who, in my opinion, are responsible for whatever happened to Sebastian. I think that's kind of where we're at, Barbosa. This child did not walk out of his house with nothing. Okay. He's an autistic boy. Autistic children act differently. Everybody knows that. At the minimum, he would have taken his beloved game. He would have put on his shoes. He would have thought I'm going to need pajamas and toothbrush. The autistic children think about what they're going to need. It's a planning. It's not something, they're not spontaneous. So even if he was going to run away, in my opinion, one of two things happen. He was running for the fear of his life, which again, I think if he was running in fear for his life, he would have been screaming. People would have noticed, as he's running out the door screaming. So I don't believe that happened. And the fact that he allegedly left all on his own without a backpack, without his toothbrush, without socks and shoes, I just don't see that being a reality. I don't even remotely see that being right. Normal kid, even a normal kid, I don't see that being a reality, because a normal kid would pack their backpack. I ran away from home. I went home and grabbed me 2 pairs of clothing for, like, I'm thinking I'm running away with 2 pairs of clothing. I remember that. Just whatever I could fit in my backpack's what I left with, right? But I left with something. I didn't leave with nothing. And I'm a normal person. I'm not an autistic person, but I have to think an autistic person would be thinking, okay, well, I've got to have my medicine at this time. I've got to brush my teeth at this time. I got to put my shoes on at this time. I got to eat, so they're planning on their routine. There we go. The routine. So they have a routine and they know what their routine is. And I would think that Sebastian would have prepared for his routine. If he takes medication at a certain time, he's going to grab his medication. If he's going to be eating at a certain time, he grabs some food. If he knows that he needs to be walking, he's not going to go out there and put his feet in the grass. He can't stand grass. He's allergic to grass. So this idea that he just ran out barefoot, it's not reality. And his mother knows that. I think what had happened is they got him out of the house and forgot about his shoes. And by the time law enforcement was there was nothing they could do, because she forgot his shoes. She forgot his shoes. She forgot his shoes. She forgot his shoes. And had she not made that one cardinal mistake, this case would be much different than it is today. But she forgot the blessed shoes. And now everybody knows there's no way he walked out of that house by himself. Why? Because she forgot the shoes. That's my opinion. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. If I offended you this morning, I do apologize. Thank you for being here. I love you guys. I hope we can all work together. We need to start putting this political crap to the side because we all have a political side to us, and we're going to think the way we're going to think. And I'm sorry, but people like me don't like federal funds being stolen from us. We don't like seeing our fellow neighbors working 2 and 3 jobs to put food on their table for their children, while other people are stealing. And I'm sorry if that offends people, but I'm going to always stand on that. And hopefully more people join in with my my concerns on that front. So God bless you. We'll see you soon. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Until next time, God bless.